Welcome, I'm Crafty Mary Ann, and today we're going to be making sun-dried cherry tomatoes. Just a little bit of fresh thyme to go on our sun-dried tomatoes, and when you go to cut your fresh thyme, some of it's going to be soft and some of it may be older, which is a little woody. We want the soft ones, so I'm just going to come in here, and I think I want 1 or 2 per jar, so I just need a couple. And then we'll be able to move on to the next part. There we go, that should do it. Well, this is my cherry tomato plant. I have Romas on the other side of it. It's grown really crazy this year to the point where we had to stake it up because all the branches were falling over. So now it's come back and it's loaded with cherry tomatoes again. I'm just going to pick a few here. Our basil's planted under the tomatoes, and so we have to go digging a little bit to get a bit of it. And we definitely want basil in the sun-dried tomatoes. I'm just going to reach in here and break off a little bit, and we'll be good to go. Oops. If you're wondering what kind of tomato to use, I recommend either cherry or a Roma tomato. There are 3 ways that you can dehydrate the tomatoes. You can put them out in the sun, you can set them in the oven on the lowest setting, which you really want to dry them around like 130, or you can put them in a food dehydrator at 135 degrees Fahrenheit for 6 to 8 hours. So now I'm just going to blanch the basil and some of the thyme really quick. It'll keep it from turning brown in the jars, and it also helps take care of any possible microbacteria or anything else that may have been on the plant. And so we just want to dip it in for about 15 seconds, 10 to 15. It goes right into cold water. And so you'll see that this is the basil that we have, and its coloration. I'm just going to push that down into the boiling water. And it's really great because it brightens the color on the leaves of the basil, so it looks really nice. So it's dual purposed. So for this next part, we need to reconstitute the completely dry, sun-dried tomatoes a little bit. So we're going, and to make sure that they're clean, we're going to do a vinegar and water wash on them and simmer them for about 5 minutes. So we're going to pour that in. I see a leaf already that I missed. There we go. And these are 8 ounce or half pint jars. So it's going to take 2 cups of water, which is 2 half pint jars. And it also is going to take a half a cup of white vinegar. That was noisy. Won't do that again. Alright, now to put this on the stove. So as you can see, they're simmering away and they're starting to float and get a little bit of moisture back in them. Behind the sun-dried tomatoes and oil and vinegar pot, we have our olive oil. And over on our other burner, we have the lids. And on the front burner, we have our boiling water with our jars in it. And I have to remember that's really hot, because I almost forgot last time and got myself a little bit. And again, we're just going to do the same process we did before. We're going to put the basil in. And we're going to put 2 stems of thyme. We are waiting for that oil to finish heating up. There's a clove of garlic, 3 peppercorns, a piece of bay leaf. Try and get everything to stand back up in here as I put in the tomatoes. So you might be wondering why I chose cherry tomatoes. I did some this year also of Romas, but I have such an abundance of cherries and didn't have a whole lot of ideas what to do with them to make them still be really, really useful and not wasteful. And came up with trying to sun dry them, and I think it works really, really well. I mean, So as we go to put the oil in the jars, I've got a assistant pourer, and you just want to bring the oil to just above. And you do hear a little sizzling. That's because the oil just came off the stove. You simmer it too, that way all of your food is hot and has less chance of getting any kind of bacteria or botulism, which is always going to be my number one concern. Okay, that one's good. This one needs just a little bit more. Just a drizzle. There we go. The lids were also processed in simmering water to make sure that the ring part of the rubber gets soft. That's where you take your seal, but make sure you're using a new lid, and then you should be just fine. Now these will keep 1 to 2 weeks in the fridge like this, or you can freeze them. You can freeze them dried, and that can keep for about 6 months. It is possible to water bath can these, but I haven't really found like the county extension office or a Ball or Kerr site that really encourages doing it, because it does have the possibility of getting bacteria and botulism. So if you do decide that you want to water bath process it or pressure cook process it, I would recommend looking online for some recipes for that. I poured the simmering oil on, and now we have our beautifully packed tomato jar. We've got the garlic, you can see the peppercorns and the basil and the thyme. It's just really appealing to the eyes. Very pretty. And the other jar, the same. You can see that vibrant color from blanching the basil and the thyme.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for joining Crafty Mary Ann.